Portugal, David used a sling to fell Goliath. Jaguar plans to use aluminum. Jaguar made just 81,570 cars last year. Audi, BMW, and Mercedes built between 1.6 million and 1.8 million each. Yet Jaguar has bravely decided the only way it can take on the German Big Three's dominance in volume, profit, and competence is with a compact premium sedan of its own, the all-new 2017 Jaguars. Jaguar tried this once before, of course, with the pitiful Mondeo-based type, an expensive lesson that if measures against these rivals are doomed to end in embarrassing failure. This time, Jaguar has essentially bet the business, around $3 billion, to help ensure this success and is hoping its aluminum construction will give its new cars one killer advantage over the, mostly, steel competition. This is a new name and model in a market segment its maker hasn't competed in since 2009, with new engines from a new factory in the UK and the key aluminum-intensive architecture. This structure will also underpin the next XF sedan and all-new Pace crossover, so if you're considering buying either of those cars, keep reading. Given the 2017 Jaguar's colossal, existential importance to its maker, you may wonder why we've been given prototypes to test. The more cynical will ask if these are prototypes at all, and if calling them prototypes simply allows Jaguar to accept our praise and claim any flaws will be fixed by the time regular production starts. We can assure you, however, that these are prototypes and not just because it says so on the side of the car. Sure, they're not the zebra-striped, cute Enschützmules regularly spied at the Nürburgring, but they are among the very first pre-production cars. Another 600 will be made over 6 months before the final specification is frozen and the first customer car is delivered in Europe this May. These cars have unfinished plastics and unstitched leather and big red emergency stop buttons. Painted-looking engineers will tell you privately what they already know needs to be changed: the engine mounts and calibration for the diesel, some spring rates, some sound deadening, and the trunk lining. When we're done with them, they will be crushed. The reason for letting us drive such early cars is Jaguar has a huge amount of factory capacity to fill. European order books are open now, and orders usually surge when the first drives are published. American customers won't get their cars until early 2016. By then Jaguar should have fixed anything we or tens of thousands of early European customers don't like. But there isn't much that needs fixing. Jaguar engineers like to talk about the 50-meter test, how a car should communicate its character as soon as you take off. This does. You can sense the greater rigidity of the aluminum monocoque. A 3 Series doesn't feel slack, but this 2017 Jaguar seems tauter, more precise, and quieter. It's not stiffer in ride though. Mounting the suspension to a more stable, consistent platform allows it to do everything better, so this has a lovely Jaguar suppleness over poor surfaces its rivals can't match. This is also due to the nature of that suspension, double wishbones at the front, where most use struts, and an Integra-Link design at the rear, where most of the rivals use a simpler multi-link setup. The rear arrangement allows Jaguar to decouple and deal differently with inputs that affect ride and handling, improving both. Despite its aluminum construction, the 2017 Jaguars has no real weight advantage over its rivals. In some cases, it may be heavier. Jaguar has used its lighter monocoque to offset the more premium suspension, and it has used only as much aluminum as it needs to hit its emissions targets. The doors, trunk lid, and rear section of the floor, about 25% of the body in white, are steel, partly to improve weight distribution, but also to reduce the material cost of an expensive car to build. Emissions targets also explain Jaguar's adoption of electric power steering. It claims that electric power steering, EPS, is now finally good enough for Jaguar to employ. The real reason is that tough global regulatory requirements mean the 2 to 3% savings in carbon dioxide emissions is too great to ignore. Hydraulic systems remain better for immediacy and feel, but, yes, the new electric assistance is more than good enough. Put it all together in this and you have a car that carves as well as it glides. There's still a slight vagueness around the dead ahead and a moment's hesitation as the steering wakes up, but once into the bend it feels quick, precise, and perfectly weighted. That supple ride resolves into well-judged body control. This displays exactly the composure, grip, and agility you'd hope for from a sports sedan. The torque vectoring system sucks the nose into apexes, but this retains an analog feel, with a natural level of lean and enough bandwidth left to smooth away mid-corner bumps. Importantly, it's as impressive on the standard passive setup as it is with the available Bilstein adaptive dampers. Its range of ability, from fluid steady-state ride to agile backrod behavior, is probably greater than that of the BMW 3 Series back when it was the undisputed dynamic champion of this class. But Jaguar's standard engine offering may not conquer all. The 340 horsepower, 3.0-liter V6 is used throughout the Jaguar range, and who wouldn't like to boast that their compact sedan shares its engine with the F-Type? It is punchy and linear, but its supercharger whine dominates the engine note, good, but not great. We also tried an Ingenium engine for the first time. The new 4-cylinder gasoline and diesel units have cost Jaguar Land Rover more than $750 million.